Welcome back to the channel. So this is just an introduction. I had all this footage filmed last year and never really got around to finishing the front splitter or the video. So basically it's kind of like the bumper video that I did recently. I'm just going to do an introduction. I'll edit the rest of the content from last year and you'll get the idea of how I built this. Did it turn out well? It did, but it's still a little flimsy. The reason that my strut rods are to the outside instead of in the middle is because the outer ends, the brackets that I built, are pretty stable. And there's a little bit of flex in the middle, but I was more worried about the length from the brackets to the outside being too flimsy. So at some point I might put a couple down to the middle. That might be a little bit too much going on. Really, the splitter ended up quite a bit bigger than I anticipated. Like visually, it looks a lot, but I'm gonna add some pieces around the sides here. It's not totally done. There is a little bit of cosmetic work that I want to do. It's not really functional, and I didn't really build it to be functional. It's just aesthetic, really. It looks pretty good. You step back from the car in the parking lot, and it looks pretty cool. I also added the side skirts. You can check that video out. The side skirt extensions, and it's all made out of 1/4-inch maple. This has been wrapped 3 or 4 times in fiberglass. I forget how many. It's pretty strong. Like it's a little bit flimsy, but it's not going to break. You just can't stand on it like a time attack splitter. Without further ado, I'll show you the rest of the process of how I built this, and then I'll go over the finished product. I'll show you the brackets and how I got to take it off and everything. It's a little bit of a pain, but it's mostly these strut rods. They go up to the crash bar, so they're not just mounted to the bumper like some people do. I didn't really want to do that. I wanted them to be a solid mount. So there's holes already that worked perfectly in the crash bar, and these are just some cheap splitter rods off of Amazon. I was looking to get something a little bit better, but for now they work. And yeah, so enjoy the rest of the video, and at the end I'll give you a rundown of how it bolts on, the fitment, how I have to take it on and off, pros and cons type of deal. So drop a comment below, like, subscribe, enjoy the video. All right, so now that it's dry, I'm gonna have to clean the bottom up a little bit, but this is basically the idea. Now I got it centered, but I only want, 2-3 inch lip. What I'm doing is I'm going to take the level straight down off of the bumper, and wherever it's level, right about there, I'm going to draw the line here. So that's about how much lip I want. Yeah, so I got to cut out the wheels, sink this back, and then figure out the rest of the shape after that. I'm going to make my own brackets, most likely, that'll bolt to the frame rails inside. Yeah, it's going to be quite a lot of work, but I think it's going to look pretty good. Alright, now that I got it slid back, I didn't cut the wheels all the way out yet. Now that I got this, so that's perfectly leveled down from the top of the bumper, and this is just for starting. So I'll go ahead and so I guess I'll cut a little farther ahead and figure out how far in I need to cut for the angle of the wheel, and that'll be pretty well situated. I'll figure out what kind of design I want to do here, and then I'll make the brackets. Once I got everything together where I want it, I'm going to lay this out on a flat table. I'm going to fiberglass this piece. I'll probably do 2 layers, hopefully only 2. We'll see how strong it is, and then I'll have some strut rods holding it. I'm going to build a pretty good bracket that holds quite a lot of the surface inside, and figure if I keep it a little bit shorter, shouldn't be taking on too crazy a pressure. I think this maple's pretty strong. It's flimsy, but I think it'll hold up. All right, well, I can't seem to find my skill saw to notch this corner out. So for now, I'm going to mock up a cardboard template. Due to where the bumper comes down at the back, the flat spots on the ends that come in, I'm likely going to have to bring this arm down and shoot it towards the inside where there'll be a plate mounted to here. I can't go straight down. Once I get a piece that comes down, I'll figure out where it sits with the bumper, and we'll go from there. All right, so I think I figured out how I'm going to make the pieces. There's going to be two. One is this plate on the bottom, and it comes up in front here, and then there'll be slotted bolt holes for adjustment. And then this plate comes down and goes over, and I'll have a bolt that goes through both of them here, and then another 4 bolts. So there'll be like a 5 bolt pattern here. And then I'll have 2 bolts here. I might even extend this and have a 3rd bolt. But this is kind of the idea anyways. All right, I got my template here. This is 18 gauge, so it was a little tough cutting it with the tin snips. I'll just cut it with a grinder. I've added some extra design work here. So I'm going to break this, fold it up, fold this up, fold this up, so that when this comes up, I'll weld this to here. That gives that a nice hard angle. And I'll probably break the back and do the same thing so that this all has structure. And yeah, I extended this so that I'll get 3 bolts here, and they'll be slotted so that I have a little bit of adjustment. All right, so this is what I got mocked up. I got my bottom plate here, and this is going to stay connected to the chassis. I'll take these 3 bolts out and leave these plates on. So I got 5 bolts bolting this plate down. This is all handmade with nothing but a hammer and a vise. Anybody can do this. I know it doesn't look that great. I would like to be able to do better work, but you know, with the tools that I have, I'm limited. I will clean this up and, you know, round it off, make it look a little better. So I got my 3 bolts here. I elongated the holes so that I have a little bit of adjustment. It's not going to be much, but I shouldn't need much if I built it right. Yeah, it's a little bit flimsy to start, but I don't have anything on the other side. If it's too flimsy when it's done, I'm going to weld a little piece on right here to stop this piece from flexing, and hopefully that'll stiffen it up a little bit. I will have some rods coming down to support the front, and if I have to build something to support the rear, then I will. And that's about it. I'll show you kind of how I did this, how I made these pieces, and we'll go from there. We're going to transfer this into a stencil onto here. I've already got my other piece cut. Just got to draw a couple more lines for the bending, and we'll go ahead and get this piece made, and I'll show you what I do to do all the bends and everything. It's pretty primitive, just a vise and a hammer. It's not the cleanest way to do it, but without a brake or anything, it works. So I'll show you how we do that. So one thing to note here, because they're opposing sides, I had to actually stencil from the back. So basically, I just vice grip these together, line them up where they're supposed to be, and now I'll stencil the head here and get this all trimmed up, and that'll be that. All right, so this is about as simple as it gets, but it is, you know, you got to work it real slow. You got to watch what you're doing, think ahead, make sure you're bending what you need to bend at the right time, or else you can't finish the rest of it. So you want to make sure you're hitting as far back as you can. And then flatten it right out. Makes a pretty nice bend, but the fact that you're hammering it, you're going to end up, I don't know how well you can see that, but you get all these little dents here. So I mean, it's not really a big deal. You want to make sure that when you're lined up, you got your pencil line. I'm going to the very bottom of the pencil line, maybe even a hair below, just so that when I bend it, the line is kind of in the middle of that bend because it's not really a perfect 90. There's a curve to it. Well, there we got our first piece. Now I got to bend this whole piece in. These long ones that are longer than the vise is where it becomes challenging. You just gotta be patient. You want to line it up to the most inner side so that when you wrap it around, your line kind of ends up in the middle of that bend. And for the first run, I'm not going to go all the way because I want to work my way across. And yeah, everything gets, bent out of shape, but you just keep on working it. I just want to be clear that nobody taught me how to do this. This is just the way that I figured out how to work metal with the limited tools and knowledge that I have. Now I just got to work this, get the second one, get the shape, grind them down. Doesn't have to be perfect. It is what it is. We'll get them cleaned up and bolt them onto the splitter, see how she looks, see how she feels, see if I need to do anything extra, but pretty good so far. Here's where we're at on the splitter. We got the brackets all done. The splitter's been wrapped in fiberglass. I'm going to maybe wrap it one more time. It's wrapped twice, but I might have one or two more times. We'll see. But otherwise, everything looks pretty good. I got the brackets here. Let's see, we got this. And then there's these brackets on the side that go up to the frame rail to keep it from tipping. So the whole thing stays pretty flat. Only problem is it is still pretty flimsy. I mean, I'm going to have rods coming up. Once these are in place, it does stop a little bit. It's not going to be under huge pressure. It's more just being worried about the highway. Pretty much just aesthetic. Here's the bumper, just doing some final touch up. And then get it ready so I can paint it. Get this. I got some paint for these brackets. I'm going to get that done. Probably paint these brackets next. I think I'm going to end up having to wrap this again, so I'll probably have to get more fiberglass resin. That's where we're at. We'll cleaned up, wrapped one more time probably, and it'll be pretty much done. So yeah, that's exciting. Okay, so here's the finished product. One thing to note is when I built the bumper, sorry about the bug guts, I got to clean it today. When I built the bumper out of fiberglass, like the bottom half of it from the body line right there is built out of fiberglass, and I did not get the bottom very straight. That's like a whole thing on its own. It wasn't originally supposed to be like this. The lip was supposed to be part of the bumper, and when I cut it off, this spot was all wavy. So I'm just kind of living with it for now, and over the winter I will deal with that. It was a lot of work. I don't like fiberglass. I don't mind it, but it's not the funnest. So for now, it's just going to stay like that. The splitter, a little bit flimsy, but it's like it's hard, it's solid. It's just, it needs a little bit of support in the middle. So in order to take this off, kind of sucks. So I have to unbolt the splitter rods, and then when I pull the bumper off, it's actually bolted. I don't know if I'll be able to show you without taking it off, which I don't really want to. It's bolted just in front of the radiator support. So that was the finished design. Let me see if I can get a better angle. So there's the plate, as you saw in the video how I made it. So I have one support going up to the frame rail, and then it's bolted to the rad support. And it does have slotted holes that are adjustable a little bit, but it pretty much sits where it needs to. It is a pretty aggressive lip, and I'm still not totally sold on the way that it sits out here, but for now it's just gonna stay. Same thing on this side. And then underneath, I don't have like low profile bolts or anything. Underneath the bolts are just a regular hex bolt, but they did sink up into it a little bit, so they're not fully sticking out the bottom. They did sink about halfway into the material, so they are sort of low profile now, but the car is also not that low. There's plenty of room underneath the car, so I haven't been dragging it yet. I did drag the side skirt extension a little bit, and because it's self-tappers, the heads of the bolts caught and pulled a couple out, so I had to put them back in. And now I'm trying to think of something else that I can use to fasten it, but all in all, it looks super mean. I thought it was going to be way too much. You know, some people probably don't like it, but you know, personal preference. It just kind of looks cool. It's really not functional. I've been able to drive at normal speeds and I don't have any issues with it, so it wasn't the easiest thing to build. I will say using some plastic material is probably cheaper and more time effective, but all in all, it's super lightweight and it's strong enough that, you know, it's not going to shatter while I'm driving. If I hit something, it's going to break, but so will a plastic one. So yeah, I mean, it turned out pretty good. I actually really like it. I wasn't totally sure once I put it on how long I was going to keep it on, but after driving it for a while and seeing it, it's starting to grow on me. There's a little bit of extra stuff that I want to add to it, like right here. To keep the bumper forward, I'm going to add a little extension that stands up the side and wraps around like this, and then maybe taper it down. And then that'll hold the bumper forward, because it does kind of shift back farther than the plate, and there's not really anything else I can do about that. One cool thing is it holds the bumper in place. Normally I would have zip ties on here because I've had elastics break on me, so I don't use the rubber elastic that comes with the kit anymore. But yeah, because of these strut rods, the bumper's not going anywhere. Holds it all in place, which is pretty cool. I can't complain. It's not really the smoothest, you know, you can see where different pieces of fiberglass met up. I didn't really care to take all the time this summer to do that. I will fix that up over the winter when I'm not driving the car. But I mean, she's looking pretty good. Of course, I do have to get it washed. I apologize for the mess. It will get clean today. Thanks for watching the video. Drop a comment below, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.